Welcome back. Once again, it's Greg from Bug Out Gear Layouts and Tactics, a prepping site Facebook page, and urbansafetysurvival.net. Um, this Friday night, I want to talk about levels of preparedness or preparation, or goals of preparedness or preparation. I've been noticing that a lot of chats that we have a lot of new preppers getting started, so they're asking a lot of questions. So just some of the information I've come across recently in the past couple of years. One of them's from the LDS Church. It talks about 5 levels of preparation. So we'll go over that real quick. One is level 1. Can you survive 7 days of a minor emergency with your 72-hour kit and a little extra food? Right? Most people go shopping nowadays. You go shopping once or twice a week for food. It's not like back in, let's say, late 80s, early 90s, even the mid 90s to the early 2000s, where people went shopping and they did one grocery shopping and they had the house stocked with food for the month. So if something happened towards the beginning of the month, you were good. You had a full, house full of food. If it happened towards the end of the month, you may have not been so lucky. But again, some people may not have the funds or so to stock up a month's worth of food at one time. So little by little, again, levels and goals. First one should be, again, to survive 7 days in your home without needing to leave, meaning having everything in your home that you have so you don't need to leave. Level 2, or a second goal, is can you survive 1 month of an emergency with your, again, LDS says 72-hour kit and extra food, fuel, and shelter. We would say the goal is to be able to survive 30 days in your home without needing to leave your property. Why we say property is because sanitation, right? If the water's not running, how do you get rid of human waste? It has to go out. You can't just keep it in the house. It's going to start to stink. So, if you're in an apartment, that may be an issue. If you live in rural or, suburbs, digging a cat hole to dispose of waste if, you're like 200 feet from a water source and things like that. Level 3, or your third goal, should be 3 months, right? So it's 3 months of being able to survive with food, everyday food, fuel, water, shelter. So again, having something to sleep in and under, whether it's an apartment, a house, a trailer, a tent that's sturdy, being able to survive for 3 months. Goal level 4, or goal number 4, should be 1 year, right? An emergency situation, 1 year, again, in your home without needing to leave the property. And the reason we say property is because, again, sanitation, waste, that becomes an issue. Level 5 for the LDS is, can you survive indefinitely from your home during a multi-year situation with the above in a garden, meaning a year's worth of supplies of food and stuff. Yep, 1 year of basic supplies from the LDS cannery. You don't need to be a member of the LDS church to buy survival items. They're dehydrated food and stuff like that. You do not have to be a member. If you can find a home storage center, it's what it's called, close to you, you can go in and you can buy it. It's cheaper than buying it online through them, because it is a little bit more if you buy it online. So that's number 5. Again, we say the goal should be to thrive, right? On your property with the proper skills, and training to survive with basic supplies. So we'll talk about some basic supplies, right? FEMA, everybody will tell you it's 1 gallon of water per person per day. You should have stored. That's a minimum, right? Your goal should actually be about 2 gallons of water per person per day. Sanitation, cooking, not just drinking. So you want to make sure you have enough, and not just per person. If you have pets, you have to think of them too. You have to have food and water for them. So food, the number of calories you need to survive depend on your age, weight, activity level, gender. For long-term health, most people will need a minimum of 1,200 calories per day. That's, again, minimum. So you're looking at roughly, depending on your age and weight and gender, 16 to 18 up to 2,200 calories a day if you're going to be doing a lot of work. And don't forget comfort foods, right? You know, you're in the middle of something really bad, you know, that favorite chocolate bar or that favorite cookie, you know, it lifts spirits, right? Shelter, why do we define shelter as? Protection from elements and cold, right? So, again, we're in December, it's getting cold out. Here at the camp, I got the buddy heaters going to keep me warm. Before I get into all the wool blankets and sleeping bags and stuff like that, right? You need protection from rain, wind, right? You need that. You need that shelter. You need to be able to keep your body out of the elements, right? Health, and when we talk about health, we encompass everything, right? So we talk about mental, emotional, physical, first aid, and other long-term conditions, right? So if you have, let's say, heart problems or diabetes or, you know, something that you need to take medication for, you have to figure out a way of how to put medication back. So that way if you can't leave your house, you can't get out, we no longer have pharmacies to go to. You have, you know, you have to think about your health. We talk about sanitation, right? Waste, both human consumption and animal waste. If you have pets, they got to go out. They need to, you know, pass the waste out their body. Not only do we have to pass waste out through our body, but, you know, think about scraps. Food, you're not eating it all, right? You know, are you throwing it out? You don't have a fridge to keep leftovers. That it has to go somewhere, or now you face infestations of insects and rodents and things like that. So you have to worry about sanitation as a basic supply. Fire protection. Fire extinguisher suitable to extinguish any fires from your fuel supply and carbon monoxide detectors. Okay, so I was at work. I was in motor pool, the garage, mechanic shop, whatever you want to call it. One of the mechanics was trying to plastic weld one of the oil can drip pans. Right, he was doing an oil change. It got a hole, so he decided he was going to take the torch, heat up a flathead screwdriver, put it to the plastic to try to plug the hole. Yeah, it took 3 fire extinguishers to put out the fire that he started in the trash can. Oil, I'm guessing, is just like gasoline. The vapors ignite because he wasn't aiming the blowtorch into the oil drip pan. He was doing it above it. It let off a fireball. And the garbage containers were containers of empty oil, which we all know, unless you leave them sitting overturned, they don't completely drip out. So there's some in there. It kept reigniting, so we kept hitting it with fire extinguishers till we got it all out, right? So it took 3 10-pound fire extinguishers to get that out. So you have to think about that, right? We don't throw water on a grease fire. So, you know, you have to have fire extinguishers that are suitable for whatever your fuel source is. Are you using propane? Are you using wood? You know, whatever it is. And again, I mentioned earlier, I have the buddy heater on, right? So if I'm going to leave the buddy heater on for an extended period of time, I want to have a carbon monoxide detector. Carbon monoxide's odorless, um, right? Colorless. It You may not know it's affecting you. So even though they're supposed to have that low oxygen shut off, we want to make sure that we have some extra protection. Next thing is fuel, right? For warmth, cooking, transportation, if the vehicles are still working, right? So, are you storing gasoline? How long are you storing it for? Are you rotating it now? Like, it sits, maybe in a garage for 2-3 weeks, a month. Then you put it in the car and you fill it back up. Right? Rotate through gasoline, propane, butane, things like that. Clothing. And don't forget, sewing kits for repair. Maybe keep some extra stuff around for, if you have younger kids or children that are still growing. That includes footwear. And the other basic supply we talk about is having a family emergency plan and papers. So again, this week, I believe it was yesterday, I posted some worksheets. Here's one. It's a family member information worksheet. It comes from one of the family guides I have in PDF. So these, I put them there. You see the highlighted spots. It says name, age, birth date, gender, height, weight, hair color, eye color, school or employer, school employer's phone, physicians and the physician's phones, allergy, medical conditions, medications. It has spots for 4. You can always get it double-sided. Tape or staple better yet, staple pictures there. Make a color copy. Have a couple around. So if you have to leave the house quick, you have all this information. I would suggest putting a family picture on the back of everybody together. So that way if you get separated and you don't have any other proof that they're actually related to you, you have some sort of information. The other one is in an emergency information sheet. Right, so I put this one out there. I think this one's good for children. Again, it has their name, nickname, date of birth, updated date on it, eye color, hair color, height, weight, body type, or blood type, sorry, allergies, vaccination dates, and medical histories, and fingerprints. So again, these I put on there from a JPEG we have on the computer at the office, just so you can see what it would look like. I think this one I actually like over this one, and I'll tell you why. This one, you have fingerprints on it. So you can turn around and if anything happens to your kids, they get lost, become missing, you have their fingerprints now on file. I don't know if local police will do it. I know some search and rescue organizations do it. Some other non-profit organizations and fraternal organizations do fingerprints for kids. I actually have the fingerprint cards for my kids, as well as these. It's just that added extra layer of protection. Should anything happen to them, I think it's pretty good. You can go the extra step and, maybe do some kind of DNA collection if you would like. But again, there's several ways of getting your child fingerprinted for free. You can ask your local law enforcement. Again, there's child safe programs, child identification programs out there run by a lot of nonprofits and fraternal organizations to get that done. So again, if you're just starting off prepping, you're new, right? Don't get overwhelmed. So, start small, enough for 7 days. And, you know, when we say 7 days, we don't just mean food. Looking at the analytics of YouTube, 25% of my viewers are female. You have a friend that visits you once a month. You have to make sure you have those supplies back as well. First aid, again, clothing, food, batteries for flashlights if that's what you're using, you know, fuel for a generator. Those are things you got to think of too. You don't have to start off humongously big. Again, you know, there's just ways to do it. In upcoming videos, we'll discuss some more. You know, this was just something quick, you know, that I wanted to get out there. So, you know, always strive for 7 days, then a month, then 3 months. You can even split the year into 6 months and then another 6 months if it helps. It don't all have to be at once. There's a lot of information out there. Again, what I would recommend is the LDS Preparedness Manual. You can get it for free online. It's all over the place. Has a lot of information. It gives you guides on how much pounds or food of each, you know, like grains and beans and rice and pasta and legumes and all that, you know, per person, how much you need to put back per person for a year. Remember that 1,200 calories a day minimum. So, right, the information's out there. Look for it. Like I said, that LDS Preparedness Manual, you can download it for free. It's a lot of people have it. A lot of Facebook groups have it on there as well. Under the file tabs, it'll be there. So, just don't feel like you need to jump into it in 1 year worth of food and supplies at one shot. You know, start slow. A couple of extra cans of food here and there. Some freeze-dried food, some Mountain House, some, you know, Augustin Farms, things like that. You can do it. Okay? Alright? Thank you for joining me again this Friday night. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, everybody. And again, it's Greg from Bug Out Gear Layouts and Tactics, a prepping site Facebook page, and UrbanSafetySurvival.net. If you can like and subscribe, that would be great. It'll help us grow. It'll help us get this message out there to everybody. All right. Thank you once again. Good night, everybody.